Sounds good. And let's do roll call. Deb Willems.
Present.
Parisa Brown. We'll wait on her. Hank Galena.
Present.
Jackie Height.
Present.
Lisa Morales.
Here.
Awesome. All
Hi,
right.
everyone. It's Parisa Brown.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Parisa.
Hi, Parisa.
Hi.
Okay, so the board will take action to approve the agenda. So I make the motion to approve the agenda as published.
Second.
Thanks, Hank.
Great. All right, and I'll take us into a roll call vote. So Deb Willems,
Aye.
Parisa Brown,
Hi.
Hank Galena,
Aye.
Jackie Height,
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Hi.
All right, motion passes.
Okay, and just double checking, any public comment on non-agenda items?
I'm going to check my email one last time. There's nothing on this end.
Marty, anything?
No, no one else has joined on.
Okay, no agenda or non-agenda items. Then we'll skip down to item 6 on the agenda for the executive director's report.
That's me. Hello. A number of items to report on this evening. I wanted to first remind you all to do, please do your Form 700s if you haven't already. I have not been to the district office for some period of time, so if you mailed it, I have not been there to check yet, but I will be going sometime in the near future to check on that. And I know I've gotten a couple electronically, so thank you for those. But please, if you have not filled it out, please do so. They are due by April 1st. And then I wanted to remind you and say a quick word. We spoke about it briefly at the last meeting, the end of the last meeting, future agenda items sort of area, I think it was, about our authorizer site visit that is coming up on March 25th and 26th. I wanted to get a quick sense of your availability during the day. Do any of you have absolutely no availability during the day? Our authorizer, our CDE consultant, would like to meet with the board to discuss things like organization and duties and fiscal standing, a review of the current budget, facility items, and a couple other things. So I'm going to get a sense of when to set that meeting on the agenda. Her schedule is roughly 9 to 4, well, 10 to 4 on Thursday the 26th, and then 9 to noon on Friday the 20. Did I say the 26th? Thursday the 25th and Friday the 26th. Sorry, 10 to 4 or 9 to noon. Can I get a rough idea of when we might be able to schedule something in that time frame?
And does she want to meet all individually, or like at least 2 or 3 of us?
I think it would be a group.
But
A group
not,
meeting and
but not the whole board, or not the majority of the board. It would be a board meeting.
we could agendize it. So, I mean, we could agendize it and it would just be a discussion. It would be, so we could have the, a majority.
Okay.
I can get clarity to how many she wants.
What she's done in the past is she just wanted to meet a couple of us.
Okay.
So was it, and then just kind of meet one-on-one, or, two of us together, something like that. Because of course they're familiar with the requirements to not have a
Sure.
board meeting. Right? So, yeah, the way she did it before, she met with a couple of us when they would come to the sites, and we'd go to different sites. Are they physically coming to the site? Okay, so it's all going to be.
It's going to be virtual, so it could be one meeting. The way she's put it as a sample agenda item is one meeting with board and leadership, actually, is the way she lumped it together. Oh, you know what? Now that I look more closely at her sample agenda, she does say board chair, head of fiscal committee, but we've talked about our fiscal committee being more like Madi and myself and Kristen. Other board members as selected by school not to exceed quorum and executive leadership. So
Okay.
you're right. Absolutely right. So in our case, that would be 2. So Deb, you're singled out on there as the board chair. So hopefully we can find a time that works for you and then get a second board member to join in.
Okay.
I'm available those 2 days.
Okay. Okay, well then why don't we do that, Deb and Hank? I'll just maybe communicate. Deb, do you have any restraints on your time that day, Hank? Or are you pretty flexible?
I'm very flexible.
Okay, so Deb, if you want to look at your calendar, maybe we can communicate about a time that works best for your work schedule.
Okay.
Awesome.
Meg, if you do need any of my time during the site visit, please just let me know. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. A couple other items to report on. COVID update of sorts, that we still have no reopening plans at this time. You've probably heard about the legislation that was recently passed and signed, AB 86, which is the governor's funding to provide assistance and accelerate reopening. If you'll recall, I mentioned previously that we as non-classroom based schools are excluded from that funding, so we are not eligible to receive the funding. Besides, it doesn't mandate reopening anyways. It's an encouragement and incentive for schools to reopen. But I am submitting data every 2 weeks about the state of, our status and following all of those guidelines and rules for what the state is requiring of us. There is also an AB 86, an expanded learning grant, which devotes even more money than that in-person instructional grant, the incentive grant. And we are qualified for that. We are eligible, which is good news. That's even more money. It's somewhere around $4 billion, I think, that they're devoting to this. There are quite a number of restrictions on how those funds could be spent. So I'm still kind of unpacking that and trying to figure out how it would work best for us. And of course, it requires a whole new plan that has to be board approved by June 1st. So if we proceed with that, we will have to have a meeting before June 1st to approve that plan. I am considering running a summer school program, and this sort of ties into this expanded learning grant. The summer school program that I'm thinking of is, it came up even before this in-person or the expanded learning grant came into play, but it may fit in nicely with that potentially, because I'm looking to specifically assist students that are struggling to complete their math graduation requirements in time. So I'm looking into this possibility of having a very targeted summer program to assist students with math in particular for the purposes of meeting our grad requirements. Vaccinations are happening sort of fast and furious. Moments before this meeting, I actually got my alert that I was up, I guess, for potentially getting a vaccine. So that's exciting. The county office is coordinating efforts for educators in the county of Santa Barbara, which would encompass all of our employees, even if they reside outside of the county, because we are a Santa Barbara County school organization. So we are relatively low on their priority list in terms of who they're vaccinating first, because they are targeting schools and staff members that the student, they have regular daily interaction with the students. So, again, they must be having space, because I just got my appointment scheduled. So we've had a couple of people scheduled vaccinated last week. So they have all of our staff information, and it's sort of in everybody else's hands in the county to take care of it. They are scheduling vaccines through Rite Aid and CVS, but those seem to be really hard to come by for now. But so we just kind of rolling with it as everything else COVID. Personnel matters. I just wanted to bring you into, I've been working on salary schedule development, sort of a project to develop to make sure to review our current certificated salary schedule and to build a salary schedule for all staff members for our classified and administrative leadership. So I did get a proposal from the Charter Schools Development Center to assist with this project. And so I'm considering that at this point to see whether to have them assist it's not inexpensive, shall we say, but it is quite a time commitment. So I am debating whether to outsource that or to continue to try to do my own research and spend my time doing it, sort of weighing those options. But I'm also working to review and update our job descriptions and drafting a new job description for a new position to sort of replace the two other administrative leadership positions that were recently vacated. I'm going to combine the two into one position, and I plan to post that position hopefully fairly soon to start canvassing for somebody for next school year. Mention of the climate survey that I administered a couple weeks ago. We had very good response to that. I would say I was very pleased with the responses that were provided by the staff. I did provide a copy to the board, and Hank and Jackie got a copy first, and then I provided a copy of those responses to the board. I'm still working with Jackie and Hank to kind of decide how to really dig into that data, but I would say it was overwhelmingly positive. Hank even did some calculations, and we determined that almost 80%, 79% or so of the responses were agree or strongly agree with the majority of the statements, which is really, really awesome. So I would say that things are on the upswing in terms of culture and climate, at least as far as was reported in that survey. Hank, did you want to mention anything else, or should we save it for when we have some more digging through the data done?
I had to add the responses to I believe it was item 33 on the survey. It kept coming up, 98% totally agree and agree. Thank you, Meg. That happened. I had to, wait a minute, look, and I took my little adding machine and added those two scores, 98%. Thank you for what all you have done.
Well, I'd say it's a group effort. The staff has been working really hard to stay positive, that's for sure.
Yeah.
How many, it says 49 responses out of, what was the possible amount of people that, right, what's our total staff count?
50, I did not take the survey. So
okay.
Everybody took it.
Everyone took it, okay.
I believe, I mean, it's possible somebody took it twice. I don't know, but I didn't collect any, I don't know who actually responded, but yeah, as far as by my counts, it was everybody took it, except I did not take the survey.
I got the same score as you did about the total thing on the survey. About 79% were up there with I strongly agree and I agree. That's really something that we need to be very, very proud of the school and so forth. I've done the kind of survey across this country, and this is probably one of the best, if not the best, that I have seen for a total. I know there was only 50 people who took the test, but it tells us something about our school and the employees and so forth. That it is. It's end of comment.
Thank you. A word about assessment. I just wanted to update the board about what's happening with testing, statewide testing. We are in the midst of administering our English Learner Proficiency Assessment right now, the LPAC. We are actually wrapping up the major part of the assessment window. We have been doing it in person. We do have the option to do it remote, so we may be doing that for some makeups, but we really are making an effort to test as many of our English learners in person as possible. And it's going pretty well. And then CASP, the English Language Arts and Math and Science assessments. The state is still sort of wrestling with the federal government has said that we're required to administer the test. The state is still sort of struggling with that and trying to decide their stance on it, for lack of a better term. They have passed shortened versions of the test, but we are gearing up and planning for in-person testing. I do believe there will be a remote option for that as well, because I think there has to be at this point. But we are gearing up as if, as if it's happening, but on a little bit shorter window, so to speak. And also LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plan. We are beginning to work on that. That's an annual requirement. We did not have to do one last year because of COVID. This year we are required to do an LCAP, and we're working on our annual update, which will include updates on the 1920 LCAP, so going backwards a little ways, and then also an update on the current year Learning Continuity Plan, which we passed in the fall. And then we're in the midst, so we're working on an update to that. That's part of the LCAP process. We're working on gathering some data, some goal development, and stakeholder engagement. So keep your eyes and ears open, because you are stakeholders that will be engaged for our LCAP purposes. Enrollment, we have a survey out. We're surveying our current students to see, to hold their spot. It is due a week from Friday, the 19th of March. And when I checked this afternoon, we had 288 responses so far, and roughly 97% or so of those students do indicate that they intend to return next year. So we are getting responses, and once that survey window closes, our enrollment and records team will follow up with all the non-respondents and try to get a better idea if they do intend to return or not. So we can proceed to our lottery for new students. If we exceed the number of spots that we have, we will hold a lottery, which I anticipate we will do that because we have, upwards of 200 interested students already. So I believe we'll exceed the number of spots, and we will have the lottery at the end of March. And then next week is our California Charter Schools Association conference, and we have 11 people that are registered to attend. So that's pretty exciting, and including Hank. So it will be virtual, which is been challenging for me personally attending conferences, but I look forward to some interesting breakout sessions. And that is the end of my report.
I also wanted to touch base on the survey. What do you see us? Do you anticipate us doing the same questions over again? Maybe, I don't know, at the end of the year or at another time, just to compare at all. Have we thought about kind of what's the next phase of this?
Well, I haven't had much of a chance. I've talked to Hank a little bit about it. I haven't had much of a chance to talk to Jackie. We haven't had a chance to talk, all three of us, yet with the results in hand or the responses in hand. So I would say my immediate gut reaction is yes, I think we would administer the same survey. I don't know about the end of this year. That seems a little soon, but maybe next year, maybe around the same time next year.
Definitely for next year, because it's,
Okay.
Meg, I will say that out of all the schools that I've seen, the ones that are most successful with surveys is when they have a finite, definite, they hold really, really firm to those questions so that they can compare their responses, and then they'll recognize if there's a dip or if there's an increase. And so if you're happy with the scope of the questions now, I think you'll find over time it will be more valid if you can hold those constant. It gives you a really great apples to apples comparison, just to everybody that does surveys.
Yep.
Good point. Thank you.
Yeah. And then if, sometimes at the end of the school year, teachers and staff decide to do different things with their careers. So I was just curious how we might roll some of this into the exit interview as well, to try to get some feedback, along the same lines with similar questions. How, how job satisfaction or other indicators, things in the survey that you asked, how that might have played a role in their decision to take their career in a different direction. So something for maybe you and Candy to think about. I don't know what our exit interview process is, but
I'll make a note and I'll discuss it with Candy.
okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Meg on her report? Okay. I'm looking at the wrong board. I don't know how I ended up on this weird agenda. So I think the board report is next.
That's correct.
I don't have anything. Does anybody else? I was going to ask about the survey, so thank you for including that. Anyone else have anything to report on? Okay, then I think we move on to the financial.
Hi, it's Maddie. I apologize in advance for not showing my lovely face. All right. Let me present. Do you guys see it?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. All right. So this information is provided as the end of January 2021. This is the report is compared to the first interim budget, and it's also 58% way through the fiscal year. The revenue as of January 20. Oh, someone's trying to join in, and I have to accept them. I believe Parisa left, and I think that's who's coming back in. Sorry. Yes. Okay, sorry about that. The actual revenue was approximately 3.7 against the budgeted revenue of 4.4 million. The variance was approximately 700,000. As noted last board meeting from Kristen's report, Olive Grove will be receiving CARES Act, ESSER funds, and other COVID-related funds, which are on a reimbursement basis, and we plan on receiving all those funds. As of expenses, the end of January 31st, total personnel expenses were approximately 2.7 million compared to the budgeted of 2.8, which has a positive variance of 151,000. Total operation expenses were approximately 1.1 million compared to our budgeted 1.4 million, a positive variance of 280. And total expenses were 3.8 million compared to the budgeted 4.2, a positive variance of 432 roughly. The net income deficit as of January 31st, taking in the revenues less expenses, the school has an actual net deficit of 74,000. All right. As of the end of January, OGCS has approximately 1.3 million in current assets. Current liabilities, approximately 772,000 with no long-term liabilities. OGCS holds approximately 355,000 in restricted assets with our Title V vehicles. And total liabilities and net assets as of January 31st were approximately 1.6 million with a net income deficit of 74,000. Our fund balance reserve was approximately 900,000. And as far as cash flow, we ended January around 1.2 million. And as stated prior as well, we've seen a slight positive increase throughout the months with cash flow. And our cash position will be taxing when our defers are realized later in the school year. But the lovely Kristen Nowak will soon talk about the projected cash flows within the second interim reports. That's it for me. I'm going to stop.
Thank you. I think now it's time for the lovely Kristen to go.
Actually, not quite. We are. The next is the
Cash flow.
Kristen's going to come up with the second or interims, but we have our presentations next.
You guys are so nice, though, to call me lovely. It makes me excited to present. But I'll wait my turn.
It all started with the hair. All right, Amber.
So can I go ahead and introduce Amber Manko? She is our lead counselor, and she is going to share some of the awesome things about the counseling team.
Let me share. All right, I think you guys can see that. Thanks everyone for giving me a few minutes of your time. I'll try to get through this quickly. Just wanted to share some highlights of what the counseling department has been working on. So the counseling department works off the ASCA model. ASCA is the American School Counselor Association, and we're organized into 3 domains. So we focus on academics, career, and social emotional development of our students. So with the academic development, this really focuses on the interventions and the activities to support and maximize each student's ability to learn. And under the career development domain, this is where we focus on programs and activities to help students really understand the connection between school and the world of work and plan for a successful transition from school to post-secondary education and or the world of work. And then under the social and emotional development domain, this is really where we focus on the interventions, the programs, and the support services that help students manage their emotions and learn and apply interpersonal skills. All right, so here's just some pictures, more from before COVID, when we could go out in the community and take our students on college tours. So here's some pictures of when we went to Cal Poly and UCSB, and then also some pictures of some workshops and presentations we have in our learning centers that students have attended. All right, and then I'm gonna, I have a little video clip of one of our counselors that works in the Santa Maria Center.
Hi, I'm Susie Bautista, one of the counselors at the Santa Maria Learning Center. For our academic domain, we have continued to partner with Cal SOAP to offer students tutoring, offer credit recovery courses, analyze transcripts, and ongoing schedules. And we send out graduation status letters to let our seniors and junior family know when their expected graduation date is. Since transitioning fully online due to COVID, we have really strengthened our academic probation process and interventions through better organization and collaboration. In addition, advisors offer office hours for additional academic support. And finally, we have continued to offer Success 101, where students learn how to be successful online. Hi, I'm Susie Bautista.
All right, now we're going to move on to the social and personal social domain, and Jenny Tucker from Santa Barbara is going to share some information.
As counselors, our goal is to assess our students' needs and provide resources to support them. This past year, our students' needs shifted when their worlds changed with COVID-19. Our counseling team was able to adapt and provide all existing services and supports in a virtual format so that our students would not be without support, connection, and guidance. In the personal social domain of our counseling model, we were able to provide, when COVID started, and are still continuing to provide, group counseling and mental health presentations on topics like depression, anxiety, and specifically how to cope during the lockdowns of COVID. We're able to provide student-led clubs like our GSA, Gay Straight Alliance Club, and different social clubs like Reconnected, which is student-led, and elementary and middle school meetups, lunchtimes, and hangouts that include games and socialization. We also provide weekly wellness activities like Wellness Wednesday, yoga, meditation, and mindfulness breaks to give students tools to, again, deal with things that they're facing with COVID and just in daily life. We provide weekly check-ins, referrals to outside resources, IEP counseling services for students in special education. We meet one-on-one for counseling with those students, as well as in groups. We also provide crisis counseling. When a crisis is referred to our counseling team, we intervene and meet with students and families to make sure that they're being supported, and if they need to be referred out, we make that referral. Students and families also benefit from our student to counselor ratio, which makes us a lot more available to serve individual students and families based on their needs.
All right. I don't know what that feedback noise is. I guess everything okay on your end? Okay. Now I'm going to share Bree from our San Luis and our Bealton Learning Centers is going to talk a little bit about what we do with college and career.
I'm Bree Salazar. I'm the school counselor at the San Luis Obispo and Bealton Learning Center. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about college and career exploration. We are continuing to offer our Get Focused, Stay Focused class in partnership with Allen Cook College. We are now doing that class virtually. We also have students with virtual college tours. So students who maybe weren't able to attend our physical college tours now have access to any college that they want to look into and get a glimpse of what it might be like. Jobs required for career exploration, capsule jobs, resume writing, and a lot of different college planning workshops to connect our students to like
Can you pause it, Amber? I'm getting a lot of feedback. I can't hear Bree. Maybe could everybody check if they're muted? That might help us with any feedback.
I don't know, you want me to keep trying?
Yeah, see if it'll work now.
community colleges and kept that relationship strong so that they're able to come into our Google Hangouts format and still support the students in getting signed up for college for next year. Another relationship that we've kept is with the Department of Rehab for our students with IEPs. This is vital to helping these students have support after they leave us at Olive Grove. Thank you.
All right, hopefully you guys are able to hear most of that. And then here's Geraldo. He's our counselor at our Santa Maria school.
Hi, my name is Geraldo. I'm one of the other counselors in the Santa Maria Learning Center. I wanted to provide a little bit of information about additional supports that we offer as counselors in Olive Grove. So they range from new student orientation. So we check in individually with every student that comes into Olive Grove, one-on-one before we make that schedule. We connect students to resources within the community. We're providing support and interventions as we go along, and if they need them throughout the semester. One-on-one counseling sessions with students if they need it, or we're also just offering it throughout the semester if anybody wants to take us up on it. As far as supporting students with IEPs, we are sitting in all of the IEPs and checking in with the resource teacher throughout the semester to make sure that we are meeting their needs, as well as running meetings for 504 students. I think the thing that makes us stand out more than anybody else is the new student orientation process, that we get to check in with the student and actually talk to them before we create their schedule. I had a student before saying that she was kind of like thrown back because in every other school that she's been to, she's just given her schedule and then she's told to go to class. Here we come up with the schedule with them during the orientation, and then that it allows us to kind of like tailor it to their needs. Hi, my name is Geraldo.
And then I just have a little bit of data to share. This is some information about our seniors and comparing them from the 2018-19 school year to the 2019-20. And so the first bar graph there is looking at our seniors that are enrolled in a community college or trade program when they leave Olive Grove, so late in the spring semester. So in 2018-19, we had 89 of our seniors enrolled in a community college or a trade program. And then last school year, we were able to increase that to 127 students. And then our four-year, we've had many students apply and accepted to four-year colleges. In 2018-19, we had 8 students accepted. And then in last school year, we had 5 students apply and all 5 were accepted. So there was a little bit of a decrease there. As far as FAFSA goes, so the financial aid applications, we really work hard on getting our students to complete their FAFSA. And in 2018 and 19, we had 75 of our seniors complete that application. And then last school year, that jumped up to 114. And then lastly, we're looking at data with our dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment students. So these are students that are either taking a concurrent enrollment class with us or enrolled at a community college, whether that be Santa Barbara City College or Hancock College or Cuesta. So this is data from all of our high school students. And so in 2018-19, 23 of our students took advantage of dual enrollment, whereas last year we had a big increase of 68 students for dual enrollment. So our accounting department is doing some good things, and we're able to really support our students and you know, guide them through the process of high school and post-secondary planning as well. And that's it. Any questions for me?
Hey, Amber, is there anything that you need from the board or any things that you'd like the board to do differently or take into consideration to better support your initiatives? Anything like that?
No, I think we're doing really well. We feel very supported by you guys and everybody that we work with at Olive Grove. I think we're very fortunate. So yeah, thank you for asking.
Well, thank you for that presentation. It was really nice to hear the words of some of your staff and to see what you guys are doing. I really appreciate the data and to be able to look at some of those metrics that you use. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Amber, I'll just say you're welcome to stay, but if you would like to quietly exit, feel free. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So next I'll introduce someone you've never seen before, Summer Thomas, who will be presenting about our special ed team. So I will pull up my screen for you, Summer, and
Amber, your presentation was remarkable. Thank you.
I concur.
Well, hello, everyone, and I'm Summer Thomas, as you know, and I just want to tell you how we're serving our students with disabilities through this pandemic. Next. Great. So just
okay. I'm sorry for me to tell. You want me to make it bigger, or is it displaying okay?
I can see it pretty well if everyone else can. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of our academic supports that we offer our students here at Olive Grove through the pandemic is one-to-one weekly meetings with case managers. We also offer one-to-one support with tutors. Everyone is available for office hours with their StrongMind teachers. We offer online support for speech, orthopedic impairment, deaf and hard of hearing, visual impairment, and physical therapy students. We have weekly schedules designed for individualized learning. We offer noise cancellation headsets and hotspots, as well as our academic probation meetings, which is just another way to find supports for our students to help them be successful. Next. Some of the accommodations that we offer our students are video lecture and video captions, read aloud features, masking, text to speech, speech to text, graphic organizers, extended time, screen share during student meetings, hide assignments, and note templates for essays and exams. Next. Some of our social emotional supports that we offer our students are daily check-ins, behavioral supports and charts for families, one-to-one counselor support. They also have access to our counseling groups, which can cover anxiety and stress management, wellness Wednesdays, parenting and expecting teens, mental health supports, and age-appropriate hangouts. Next. We also work with Department of Rehabilitation in Tri-Counties, and what this does is they help provide support with job exploration, work-based learning, work readiness, self-advocacy training, post-secondary counseling, resume writing, and interview skills. Next. I just wanted to let you know that our SELPA, who we have a partnership with, is El Dorado Charter SELPA. And I'm really excited because one of our students this year is interviewing for the 2021 Youth Leadership Forum through the SELPA website and that organization. So we are excited about that. Next. And just some testimonials. I wanted to keep everyone anonymous for confidentiality reasons, but just in these last couple of weeks, parents have said, I was at my wit's end with this previous district, but this program has saved our life. My child is now thriving thanks to Olive Grove. And thank you for all that you do. My son is now confident and ready for graduation. And that's it. It was short and sweet, but I hope, I hope that gave you a little insight into our special education department and serving our students with disabilities. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
I don't want to take that slide down. It gives me goosebumps.
It makes me feel really great. I just am very excited.
Thank you, Summer. That was really insightful. Always appreciate hearing from the work that you're doing, and we always see you on the board, so it's nice to be able to see what you're doing in the school, and I suspect that's the real place where you get your job satisfaction. So thank you.
Thank you.
You truly make a difference.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Input for Summer, and then of course my question is always anything that you need from the board, anything we should take into consideration, or since you.
Just like Amber, I feel very supported this year. Thank you so much for the board, and thank you just for the whole organization. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, then I think the next thing on the agenda, since there's no training, would be going on to approve the minutes in the consent agenda. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So when there's only one thing on the consent agenda, sometimes I feel it's, doesn't save us any, but it's all good to keep them on there. So I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there any objections?
Would someone like to second?
Second.
I'll second.
All right, Lisa, thank you. All right. And I can take us into a roll call vote. So Deb Willems.
Aye.
Parisa Brown.
Aye.
Hank Galena.
Aye.
Jackie Height.
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Okay, so the next we're getting into the action items on the agenda. So the first is A. So I make a motion to approve the second interim reports for each of the Olive Grove charter schools, 1 through 4. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And then discussion or presentation?
I have a presentation.
Lovely, Kristen. No,
If you would like to see it, I'm happy to. Oh, this is complicated now. It's different. Here we go. I will share a window. There. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I thought it would be best if I gave you the overview of the entire sort of family of schools position, and then each individual budget revision that will coincide with the 4 different second interim reports that need to be approved. So then we can ask the questions or have the discussion on the front end and then move directly into the action items if that works for everybody. So moving down, this should look familiar. There's been no change from what we've been funded on due to the ADA freeze. So we're still being funded really on 580.24 collectively across the family of schools. And if you'll recall, we did attempt to budget for much more, 703. So really, because of this underfunding, that's about $1.2 million that we're not receiving this year. So we're hopeful that the freeze will dissipate at the end of this year and we'll get back into a little bit more normalcy next year. So looking at our second interim as an entire family of schools here, I want to just high level show you this. There we go. I want to show you that Santa Maria is definitely, you know, in a very positive surplus position. Santa Barbara, we have really narrowed that margin down from where we were before. So really getting much closer to break even. Lompoc is also really contributing from a $282,000 surplus position. And then Buellton is also very, very close to break even. So just so you know, as a point of reference, our first interim consolidated budget was showing a $325,000 collective surplus. And we're now looking at about a $684,000 collective surplus. So an improvement of almost $360,000. So it's good news really across the board. So moving into Santa Maria, this is where you'll see sort of first interim, we had anticipated finishing at about $307,000 surplus, and now we're at $460,000. The big variances are we received our final apportionment for LCFF. It was a slight decline, $1,900. We did get some lottery revenue adjustment as well as some local revenue that was received. So all in, our total revenue increased by $21,000. So our second interim Santa Maria budgeted revenue for the year is $3,364,261. So an increase of about 21 grand. And then thanks to Meg and Madi, you'll see we have a lot of movement in our personnel expenses. We really combed through person by person and how they were being allocated across. And so all of the personnel expenditures have really been tightened up and are reflective of our current staffing. And that was a savings of $96,000 to Santa Maria. And then we had some various operational budget reductions just to reflect some current spending. We added the cost of the financing that we approved last time. And really just to be conservative, we took it for the entire amount that we looked at, even though we probably won't use all of that, but we want to be really conservative. But our total expenses reduced about $131,000. So with the $20,000 increase in revenues, $130,000 decrease in expenditures, that would explain our $152,000 betterment from first interim. So $3.3 million in revenue, $2.9 million expenses, and an anticipated surplus of $460,314. The great news is because of the way we manage our fund balances to achieve sort of that 5% reserve, Santa Maria will be contributing back to sort of our home office, our district office location, $454,000 of the fund balance for other schools to draw from and to have a collective reserve. So really, Santa Maria is doing a great job. We're in a really good spot. Any questions on Santa Maria? Okay, I'm going to move to Santa Barbara. You can see the green arrows are my favorite, but this is a small red arrow. It's really not a lot, I promise. So Santa Barbara, we have improved our position by about $109,000, which is a big deal. We were at a deficit position of $157,000 at first interim, and now we're looking at like $48,000 deficit. So our revenue is not a huge change, really like $7,700, just a slight Title I allocation adjustment, a little bit of an increase in our LCFF apportionment, and then some local revenue we received. Again, those personnel expenses and all of that work that Meg and Madi did was an $80,000 savings to Santa Barbara, which was a big push for them. We also made some increases in materials and supplies. We did reduce software to align with some year-to-date spend and adjusted student equipment. We did make some adjustments to our insurance and updated rental amounts, which were some savings, and then again added in that cost of Lumen financing based on what Santa Barbara's CFF deferrals looked like. So total expenses went down about 101,000 and total revenues increased about 8,000. So that's our $109,000 variance. So the second interim Santa Barbara budget position you would be approving is 1.9 million in revenue, a little bit over that, 1.99 million in expenditures for a deficit position of $48,000. And then proposed transfer in from that central location is only about $66,000. That'll get us to that almost $100,000 that's required for our 5% reserve requirement. Any questions on Santa Barbara? Okay, moving on to Lompoc. So really negligible, I mean, $4,000 variance in our revenues. So really holding firm at that 1.7 million. A little bit of an adjustment in personnel, about $46,000 in savings, right sizing those. We did update some lease amounts and adjustments to budgets based on our actual year-to-date spending and rolled in the cost of Lumen financing. But those personnel expenses really did help. So our total expenditures went down 29,000 and our total revenue went up about 4,000. So that's the $33,000 variance you're seeing. So the Lompoc second interim budget position we would be approving is 1.7 million in revenue, about 1.5 in expenses, and a surplus position of $282,158. And that will allow them to contribute about $280,000 to the central office. Now, to get to 5%, the math actually makes it 283,000. But I didn't want to transfer that and take us out of our surplus position. It just means we have a really healthy fund balance and are really contributing to it. So intentionally, I did reduce that to 280,000 so that we would still be in a surplus position while maintaining that 5% reserve. Any questions there? Okay, last but not least, Buellton. Buellton is a little bit of a unique animal. I'm going to go through everything the way I normally did, but I do want to share something with the board to make sure that there's good awareness there. So total revenues, slight reduction, really in just some federal revenues. We did receive some E-rate and local revenues, so about a $6,500 reduction in revenues. A lot of personnel movement, but not a lot of net impact, only a $1,500 savings, a little bit of an increase in books and supplies, and really a $55 increase in expenses. So not a huge movement. You know, we were at a deficit of $2,700. We're at a deficit of $9,300. So really still pretty close to break even. A really negligible amount transferring in, about $1,720 to receive that 5% reserve requirement. But what I do want to call out to the board is that last year, Buellton was overpaid in their LCFF revenues. And so the way that works is we have on our balance sheet basically an IOU back to the state. And what the state likes to do is they don't like to give us money when we owe them money. So they have been withholding the cash for our LCFF revenue. It doesn't mean that we're not earning the revenue, but we're not receiving it. So what that means, it's a little bit tricky. So these numbers are reflective of what we are earning for a revenue perspective from Buellton, but from a cash perspective, we're not receiving that cash in. We're instead reducing that IOU or that liability that sits on our balance sheet. So I know that the way that we present these and the financials that the board approves, it doesn't really give great visibility to that situation. Collectively, we do manage our cash in one bank account, and so really, because of the transfers in, we are fine. But I did want to just bring visibility to that fact that this year we are basically paying back the cash that we were overpaid last year. So I just wanted to see if there were any questions, or maybe you are all already aware of it, but I just wanted to bring some good transparency to that matter.
Thank you for pointing that out. I really appreciate bringing that to our attention in case it had been missed by anyone. Thank you.
Of course. And then that brings us to all green, my favorite slide now. So this is our cash flow position. And I want to just point out this new line item right here that says Lumen financing. Again, I assumed sort of worst case, most conservative scenario that we were taking all the money that possibly could be available to us. And so the green is us pulling forward and bringing in, and then the orange is us paying back, right? And so, but it really does get us past where we would have had a challenge. And if you see this cash balance without Lumen, you'll see May and June is where previously we did have those challenges where it really does dip pretty low. I mean, we still don't get negative, but it does get a little uncomfortable when you think about the fact that we have, payroll for 4 schools and, a lot of operational expenditures. So I know last month we approved moving forward with Lumen, and I know we do have some housekeeping to do when we get to action items in B. But I wanted to let you know that with the mechanism of Lumen financing, should we need to pull from it, we have the ability to really weather May and June when things start to get a little bit tougher. And so that concludes the presentation, but I am happy to answer any questions, or if when everybody gets to, the action items, if you have any questions at that time, I'm happy to field them. All right, Deb, back to you.
Roll call vote.
Come on, Lisa. Always good with questions. Don't you have anything?
No.
I try to over-explain, so then, really, I don't know.
That's good. You did a great job. Okay, roll call vote it is if no one has any questions.
All right. Deb Willems.
Aye.
Parisa Brown.
Aye.
Hank Galena.
Aye.
Jackie Height.
Aye.
Lisa Morales. All right, motion passes 5-0.
All right. The next agenda item is adopting the board resolution regarding financial arrangements between Olive Grove and Lumen. So I make the motion to adopt it for the line item there. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Hank. All right. So the presentation and discussion.
So there's not a whole lot of a presentation here, but you will recall that the board did approve the choice of Lumen to proceed with Lumen financing for our financing needs should they arise. Part of their process requires that we adopt this board resolution, and it's primarily to formalize the relationship for one, and really to identify who will be authorized to sign contracts and request the funds. So you'll see in the board resolution that it identifies that Deb and myself would be authorized to request funds. And the certified certificate part would be signed by Lisa Morales as the vice president of the corporation, because she isn't one of the people that would be able to authorize, to request funds. So we need to keep that separation. So that's about the extent of the presentation I have for you. There is a term sheet that was also included in your board packet that you've seen previously. It hasn't changed in terms of the rates and that kind of thing. So if you have any questions, either I or Kristen can answer them. But I recommend you adopt it.
No questions from me. Any questions from other board members?
Nope.
All right.
All right, we'll go to a roll call vote. Deb Willems,
Aye.
Parisa Brown,
Aye.
Hank Galena,
Aye.
Jackie Height,
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 5-0.
All righty. So the next, I make the motion to approve the Olive Grove Charter School 2021-2022 school calendar. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Any comments?
Okay, I just real quick present this calendar just to let you know it was crafted with input from school leadership. I did also look into local calendars, for many of the districts in the areas that we serve. I want to point out that this calendar includes 175 instructional days, and I want to make that clear because currently our current calendar is 180 instructional days.
Yes.
175 is the minimum number that's required for charter schools. And I did decrease this proposed calendar to 175 for next school year in order to maximize it was a logistical thing mostly to make sure that we could stick with keeping our 3-week winter break, which seems to be somewhat of a really prized possession, so to speak, and to make the semester end before the winter break and not have to start at the very beginning of August. And I believe that it will serve our students well enough, knowing, having more familiarity now than I did 6 or 8 months ago with how the pacing works out in their coursework. I believe they will be able to accomplish their assignments in the 175 days. It also provides some additional time where the teachers can have some work time, where there'll be non-student days so that there are not differing expectations about what should be provided to students on certain days, so that it's clear it's a non-student day so the teachers have some work time and the students have a non-instructional day. So there's the calendar that I propose, and I would recommend you approve it, but I am open to any questions or feedback. That's a charter thing, by the way. Regular school, traditional school districts are required to have 180 days.
Okay. Any thoughts or comments or concerns by the board?
I just appreciate that input was gotten from others. This wasn't
Lisa, is it possible to use a different microphone or to speak up? It's really hard to hear you.
Oh, I don't know. Never mind. It's okay.
No, I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I don't know. I'm screaming into the computer. I don't know.
There you go.
I just appreciate that we got input from other people, and that wasn't just a unilateral decision as this is going to be the calendar. I thank you for that.
That's a good point. I as well.
To be clear, I didn't take it to the whole staff. I don't want to try to take credit for having taken it to the whole staff, but I did run it through the leadership team. So I don't want to make a false impression that I asked the whole staff.
Well,
no,
thank you.
I mean, you're not going to get consensus with 50 people, but do appreciate at least that, you collaborated with a larger group of folks.
Thank you.
All right. Should we do a roll call vote?
Yes, please.
Deb Wellens,
Aye.
Parisa Brown,
Aye.
Hank Galena,
Aye.
Jackie Height,
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Hi.
All right, motion passes 5-0.
All right. Let's see. So the next is public. I make well. Do we approve this? Is this an approving thing? Like, am I voting on this next one?
Yeah, you do. It's an action item, so I guess I didn't put yes, it's an approval item. Sorry.
It's okay. So I make a motion to approve the public employee appointment with the independent study teacher Morgan Hagmark. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Thanks. Discussion? Is there anything we should know here?
Just to let you know that Morgan did accept the offer, and she has started March 1st. So I recommend you approve the appointment, please.
Thank you. And just for my own edification, why do we approve this one and not other ones? How is this a formality, or how does this work?
Well, we did approve the other in my tenure, so to speak. So far, this is only the third person I've hired. So we did approve towards the beginning of the year. You approved a couple of new employees in this manner.
Okay.
So that's why. I mean, it's a typical board item for approving appointments.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm not very articulate on that matter right now.
Yeah, because we've always
seen you waving, Lisa.
I just didn't know if it was a requirement or if this is something that we do just in the vein of transparency, or is it how?
To be honest, I'm not sure if it's a requirement, but previous experience with board,
it is.
done it.
Yeah, it's not a requirement. That's an operational decision. What would be a board requirement is if you're making a change to the overall employee contract wording or something like that. But in all honesty, the board needs to approve the contract of their one employee, which is you, Meg. And the rest is probably a nice to know. It's never going to hurt, but I would say, especially at the beginning of the school year when there's going to be a lot of movement, it may be a good way to just roll it into your executive director report to give an update on, what staff movements there are. But it's not a requirement, but like I said, it can never hurt.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Coming from someone who goes to 17 board meetings a month. That's my take, my friends.
So we can communicate, Deb, if you want me, if we should take that off as an item, because I could see at the beginning of the school year, there could be a lot of movement. And so we can decide how to move. But since this one's on here, if you wouldn't mind doing the vote.
Of course. I'm trying to, always a learning opportunity. So just trying to understand how it's just such a different way to do business. So yeah. Any other thoughts or questions from board members?
I just wanted to hear the story behind like, did we lose somebody?
So yes, well, there were a couple of departures since the start of school. So there was a number of people that departed Santa Barbara in particular, and we sort of made do for a while, and we were able to serve those students. But it got to the point where there were so many students that I decided to give it a shot to try to hire somebody. It's kind of an odd time to try to hire. So I thought if we found a really excellent candidate, we would do it. And we did find a really excellent candidate. So we did. So it also works out well because we are also looking at another employee going on a leave in the near future. So we were getting shorthanded.
All right. Pending no further questions or discussions, over to you, Summer, for a vote.
All right. Deb Willems,
Aye.
Teresa Brown,
Aye.
Hank Galena,
Aye.
Jackie Height,
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next, I make a motion to approve the third amendment, I make a motion to approve the third amendment to lease for the Santa Barbara facility.
Hmm.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm gonna do Lisa Morales.
Thank you. All right.
So this was sort of complicated. It's basically there was one suite of the 4 or 5 that we have amassed since we had the original lease with the Santa Barbara building. So there was one suite that we had been assigned at some point. This all just came to light to me. I got a full understanding of this like in the last month or 6 weeks. It's not really a sublease, but it was akin to a sublease that we were subleasing this one suite. And that lease expired February 28th. The remainder of the suites don't expire. Their lease doesn't expire until July 31. So we had to make a deal to figure out how to do this. And what I did for the time being, the property managers and landlords were very generous in working with me. And we made an amendment to wrap that suite into the other lease so that they all expire on July 31. And we are beginning conversations about extending the lease or shopping around for other space because, as we know, the Santa Barbara pool is one of the ones that has some budgetary deficit spending, and the lease costs are quite high. So I am shopping around and seeing what else is available in Santa Barbara. But I want to note that this amendment actually results in a decrease in the rent because they're giving us the cost of the square foot, whatever the cost per square foot is of the main lease, which was actually less than what we were paying on the assigned lease or the sublease. So there's a small decrease of a few $100s in the amount of the rent. So I recommend you approve the amendment to the lease so we can stay there until at least July.
Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts or questions or comments by the board?
Okay.
All right.
Listen to a roll call vote. Deb Willems,
Aye.
Teresa Brown,
Aye.
Hank Galena,
Aye.
Jackie Height,
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve the Olive Grove Charter School COVID-19 vaccination policy.
Hmm.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Jackie.
All right. This policy is put in place to formalize the fact that as the school leadership is proposing that we encourage vaccination, but not mandate it at this time. This policy is not a requirement by any new law or guidance, but it is recommended by our attorneys. We did work with the attorney at Young Mini and Core. Because it's a non-mandatory, because it's making the employees' vaccinations non-mandatory, you are encouraged to keep in mind that we need to make sure we avoid incentivizing or paying employees for voluntarily vaccinating. We are avoiding tracking voluntary employee vaccinations. And we will be ensuring that employees continue to consistently follow all health and safety protocol, regardless of their vaccination status. Just so you're aware, the board, if this receives board approval, we will distribute the policy to all employees, at least electronically, so that they're fully informed of the policy. We will ask that they confirm receipt, and that notification or that acknowledgement of receipt is simply an acknowledgement that they've received the policy. It's not that they agree with it or will be vaccinated or won't be vaccinated. So I recommend you approve the policy.
Right on.
And this aligns with like the rest of the schools in the area. My only, at some point, could the school district come back and say that teachers have to be vaccinated? And then, are we encouraging our teachers to keep their cards, if you will, right? I think anyone who's getting vaccinated is trying to hold on to that card because there's this speculation. Will you need it to travel? Will you need it to go to work and things? So I just didn't know if there was any guidance on encouraging folks to keep their cards in case they need to show proof at a later date.
Yeah, it is actually, is in the policy. So it does say that employees that voluntarily vaccinate are not required to provide any proof at this time. However, we do, and it says that such employees must retain proof of vaccination should the school elect to mandate vaccinations and request proof of COVID-19 vaccination status at a later date. So the policy really leaves it open-ended for us to change our minds later if we want to pivot, or if we determine it's necessary, or if the state starts to require it for public school employees or something like that, we can pivot and require it. But it does specifically say you should save your proof just in case you need it for our purposes, among other purposes that might be out in the world.
Yeah,
it's a good question.
Anything by anyone else? All right, Summer.
All right. Go to a roll call vote. Deb Willems.
Aye.
Cariza Brown.
Aye.
Hank Galena.
Aye.
Jackie Height.
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, I make a motion to approve the revised Olive Grove Charter School, Inc. Notice of Non-Discrimination Policy. Is there a second?
Actually, the next one is the conflict of interest code.
Thank you. Going back up to line item G, make a motion to approve the revised charter school conflict of interest code. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Lisa.
Okay, so this one, this is sort of in this last three items here, the COVID vaccine, and this one and the next one are in our effort to review and reapprove or make revisions to our policies. So this one I added today. I did ask Young Minyan Core to review our conflict of interest code to make sure it meets all current laws and requirements. There were a small number of changes made to the document. There was one section that I do want to point out, and I want to make sure that you're all clear on and in support of. In the statement of economic interest, filing statements filed with the charter school at the bottom of page 1 of 1. The changes made here are due to the fact that Santa Barbara County does not require charter schools to file electronically or to register their filers. So given the choice, Young Minyan Core recommended that we keep the forms local and maintain control of the originals. So what changed was this section previously said that we would file the Form 700s would come to the charter school and the filing official would then file them with the Board of Supervisors, through the county. This change was made because Santa Barbara County doesn't, some counties do require that, Santa Barbara County does not. So it helps us maintain more local control over our own forms. We still have to make them available for public viewing. We have to do them. We have to have them on file. They have to be available for public viewing, but that is that change. So I want to make sure the board is in support of that change. And if you're not, that could revert back to the original language to file them with the Board of Supervisors. The other piece that was changed, the change was on the section 6, manner of disqualification, governing board member designated employees. That's the middle of page 2 of 2. Those changes were made by the attorney to make sure that we comply with Government Code section 1090. And then the last changes that were made were in Exhibit A, the designated positions, page 1 of that Exhibit A. There were a few changes made to reflect current positions and classifications. So there were a couple things on there that we did not have, like a controller. So I took that off and put in the current relative, key positions.
Okay.
So I recommend approval as written, but again, as I said, I want to make sure you're clear about the filing location and status.
I'm good. Anybody else have questions, concerns, thoughts?
All right, I'll take us to a roll call vote. Deb Williams,
Aye.
Teresa Brown,
Aye.
Pinkalina,
Aye.
Jackie Height,
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Now we can go back and make a motion to approve the revised Olive Grove Charter School Notice of Non-Discrimination policy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hank. Anything on this?
So this, just a review of the policies and procedures, as I was going through them, revealed that the wording in this notice was in need of slight revising in order to include all the protected categories. And additionally, the name and address and contact information were updated in the version you have in your board packet to reflect the current executive director, myself, and the district office address information.
Yeah.
Just so you're aware, the proposed revised version that you have in your board packet is based on a template provided by the Charter Schools Development Center, as many of our other policies have been in the past. Excuse me. And it is also based on a guidance in a pamphlet that I have from the U.S. Department of Education. So I recommend you approve, please.
Any comments or questions, discussions on the agenda, on the motion that's on the floor?
All right, we'll go to a roll call vote. Deb Williams,
Aye.
Teresa Brown,
Aye.
Pinkalina,
Aye.
Jackie Height,
Aye.
Lisa Morales.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. So the item on the agenda is board business schedule. Do we need to schedule an April, May board meeting?
Well, we had talked about scheduling, we were going to do the February meeting, and then we had to cancel that one. And then I would suggest scheduling at least one more meeting so we can work through some more of our policies. And then also, if we need to do this plan for the expanded learning grant, now I can't remember which plan it is, but if we need to do that plan by June 1st, we will need to schedule another meeting because our next regularly scheduled meeting at this time isn't until June 8th, I believe it is. And I think next year I will probably schedule a meeting every month instead of having some space between, just to throw that out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have like the next? Do we have a pretty full agenda for the next couple? And you want to go ahead?
Well, so June 8th is current. The next meeting is scheduled to be June 8th, and that is actually on there just as a public hearing for the LCAP. It's a requirement to have the public hearing on a different day than the approval of the LCAP. So June 8th conceivably could just be opening the public hearing for the LCAP, hearing any public feedback comment, hearing any feedback comment from the board, and closing the public hearing. So then the June 15th would be the meeting where it's approved.
And in June, we will need to approve next year's budget, and that's the big financial one. So we need one in June.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have June 8th and June 15th on the calendar for sure, and those do need to stay there. But The next meeting that we have, if we do one in April or May, would be policy review primarily. And I'm sure there's things that come up between now and then that we can put on there, so it will help lighten June's meeting, as well as, like I said, the plan for the expanded learning grant. So for that reason, I might suggest May, because I'm not even sure what the template or the plan is going to look like for that grant.
Yeah, I feel like right now the focus is on the reopening, which non-classroom based is not eligible for. Obviously, why would it be? And I feel like that's the focus over the next month or so. So if you were going to choose one, I concur. I think May would probably catch whatever else might come our way.
So I could propose the 11th or the 18th, maybe the 18th or the 25th. I mean, really, it's.
It seems so far.
I am serving on a WASC visiting committee, so it's virtual, so I'm going to be going to another school to serve as a committee member for their accreditation process. I don't know what that timing is going to look like, but I don't want to schedule it on May 4th because that's during that visit. So for me, the 11th, the 18th, or the 25th are all.
Meg, I would recommend keeping it so that we have distance between that May and June meeting, instead of shortening that to, 2 weeks or 3 weeks to try and from our regular board meeting from that 15th of June, maybe figuring out what that week would be.
Yeah, I think the 11th is probably good because then because the 31st is the holiday, right? And so it gets that can be kind of a weird week with the holiday in there, the 31st. So I'm good the 11th. Yeah, is there anybody who cannot make? Anyone else who has a preference?
Is it anybody's anniversary on May 11th? Check now.
Well, it's almost my birthday. I'll just say that. Almost my birthday.
I will eat a cupcake for you, for sure.
Not quite my birthday. It's my birthday eve.
Okay.
All right. So May 11th it is, 6 p.m.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Okay. Where am I at?
We have new business or future agenda items.
Yeah, so with that next meeting, is there anything that we want to we add to the agenda? Future business? Okay. Well, folks, just keep that in mind, and if you topics that we need to add to the agenda, please reach out to Meg and make sure that we get it added. So then
there might be something related to, closed session. I don't know if there might be something related to my goals or my evaluation maybe, but that we can discuss that if it comes up.
Okay. Yeah, I think, is there a date written in your contract? Do you remember? Because I think we had something to give you feedback by like mid-May or something. Is that right?
Let me double check. I'll see what I can find in my notes. I don't have that up right in front of me.
Like the amount I looked at it last year, I should know what off the top, but for some reason I think mid-May is. So yeah, that's probably. Well, we probably owe you that.
I mean, you don't owe me anything, but I feel like you did sketch out a general calendar. I just have to find where that might be.
Yeah, I
like
think
a kind of general time frame for feedback and review.
Yeah, I think it's mid-May. So we'll keep an eye on that and look and see if we've got to add that to the May one. Then that'll be good timing to do it on the 11th. Okay. So the next thing is to go to closed session. So I anticipate this will probably be about a half hour. But I'll ping you if we need more, or ping me if you're starting to think we got lost, or I'll ping, of course, when we come back, you'll see us. But,
Summer, I'm happy to. Bye,
I'm
Kristen.
going to say good night, everybody.
Good night,
So
Kristen. Thank you.
thank you, and
Meg.
see
Thank you all
you
on that.
on the birthday eve of Meg. Okay.
What are we gonna do? We gotta come back. Do we need to do a roll call again?
Probably would be a good idea to make sure that everybody's back. So it's 8:06, right?
Yes.
All right, I mean, Summer's not here, so I will do the roll call. Deb Williams,
Here.
Parisa Brown,
Here.
Hank Galena. Hank, you're muted. I see you there. So Hank's here. Can you unmute for a second and say here? No. Jackie Height,
Here.
Lisa Morales.
Here.
Can we stipulate that Hank's here since we can all see him?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have a quorum otherwise, so we're
Right.
okay.
Perfect.
All right, so reporting out from the board, we did come up with 3 main goal categories around test scores, employee satisfaction, and the budget for the school. And so I will finalize some kind of baseline goals for the current school year, and then we're going to put together something to give her a kind of a head start on next school year and get those finalized in the next couple months that we will use the next time we get together to provide some kind of a written formal evaluation for the year. And then we also want to work on coming up with a form or a process to do that formal evaluation so that we can be consistent year to year. Did you get all that, Meg?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I got most of it. Yeah, I think I didn't get it verbatim, but I've got enough, I think, to summarize the report.
Perfect. Thank you. Closed session, return to open session, report open actions. All right, so our next meeting we scheduled for May 11th, right?
May 11th, yes.
April, and then the next meeting after that is scheduled for June 8th. And further discussion or topics for the board before we adjourn?
Just a question. Will we be reviewing any procedures in the next board meeting?
Yes, the plan is to do some review of some of the policies.
Okay, good.
Definitely.
I have a suggestion, Meg, just a suggestion. That based on a little bit of my experience, that the results of the survey be presented to the total staff. Because I'm sure this is, well, we did this thing. And so you might want to give that some thought. A PowerPoint presentation of I don't know who did the graphics. Did you do the graphics? The circle of the pipe?
Google Magic did the graphics.
Yeah, but you did it. And
yeah, well, I put them all in that document. Yes, for the board's purposes. Yeah.
A PowerPoint presentation of those items and to the total staff so that they know, and a big applause and so forth and you may want to. It's like an appreciation. You people did such a great job, and I really want to appreciate what's going on. So that the staff feels appreciated of all the work that they have done to bring up those survey scores. Just a suggestion.
Yeah, I agree. It's a nice way to keep them engaged. And we appreciate them taking the time to do that as well. It's very helpful for, I think, you mostly, all of us, to see how we're doing. Yeah.
All right, I will definitely give that some thought and put that into motion.
Thank you.
Good.
All right. Are we adjourned already, or are we still?
Anything else? All right, then we'll go ahead and adjourn to 8:11. So thank